Amidst storm-darkened skies, the echoes of ancient battlefields resonate with the clash of steel and the cries of warriors. Here, the Macedonian phalanx advances, a formidable force forged for conquest. At its helm stands a young Alexander, his light brown hair windswept, eyes ablaze with ambition, a bronze cuirass glinting under the ominous clouds. Before the age of 30, Alexander commanded an empire that spanned from Greece to India, a feat unmatched in history. His vision was grand, yet his ambition harbored a darker edge. Each victory carved his name into the annals of time, yet the cost of his relentless pursuit loomed like a shadow. Born to King Philip II and Queen Olympias, Alexander was steeped in the lore of greatness from a young age. His childhood was marked by the whispers of destiny, shaping him into a figure both revered and feared. As he grew, so did the expectations placed upon him, forging a path toward an uncertain future. In the heart of Macedon, the young prince trained under the great philosopher Aristotle, absorbing knowledge that would fuel his ambitions. Philosophy, science, and the heroic tales of Homer became his foundation. He learned that glory was not a gift, but a prize to be seized through action and courage. Fearlessness defined Alexander from the outset. The legendary tale of taming Bucephalus, a wild stallion, marked his early triumph. With a slight head tilt, he approached the horse, showcasing a confidence that would later become his hallmark. This moment foreshadowed the audacity that would propel him to greatness. As he matured, Alexander transformed from a boy into a king, inheriting a kingdom rife with conflict and doubt. The death of his father thrust him into a world where he must assert his authority. He faced enemies both within and outside, ready to challenge the legacy he was destined to uphold. Yet beneath the surface of his ambition lay a profound question. How does one navigate the treacherous waters of power without losing oneself? As Alexander's aspirations grew, so did the weight of his decisions. The boy who dared to conquer the world was becoming a man burdened by his own dreams. With each passing day, the line between vision and obsession blurred. The ambition that once inspired him began to morph into an insatiable hunger. As he prepared to lead his forces into battle, the question loomed larger. Would his relentless drive lead to glory or destruction? In a world where empires rose and fell, Alexander's journey was just beginning. The boy who dared to conquer the world now stood on the precipice of greatness. But as he gazed into the horizon, one question remained. Would his ambition ultimately consume him? In the grand halls of the Macedonian palace, young Alexander, barely a boy of 8, is surrounded by the whispers of greatness. His mother, Queen Olympias, instills in him the belief that he is destined for extraordinary things, while his father, King Philip II, prepares him for the brutal realities of power. As Alexander grows, he is immersed in the teachings of Aristotle, who introduces him to the world of philosophy, science, and the heroic tales of Homer. These lessons ignite a fire within him, shaping his mind and fueling his ambition to achieve glory through action. The court of Macedon is a place of intrigue and rivalry, where young Alexander learns to navigate the treacherous waters of politics. He witnesses the consequences of betrayal and ambition, solidifying his resolve to rise above the chaos that surrounds him. At just 12 years old, Alexander demonstrates his fearless nature when he tames Bucephalus, a wild horse that no one else can control. This moment becomes legendary, marking the beginning of his reputation as a boy destined for greatness. The bond between Alexander and Bucephalus deepens as they train together, symbolizing the connection between man and beast. This partnership embodies Alexander's fierce spirit and foreshadows his future as a leader who will command both men and horses alike. As Alexander matures, he grapples with the weight of expectation placed upon him. His piercing hazel eyes reflect a mix of youthful confidence and the dawning realization that greatness comes with immense responsibility and sacrifice. The influence of his mother, Olympias, remains strong as she shares prophecies of his destiny, reinforcing his belief that he is not just a prince, but a future conqueror. Her fervent words echo in his mind, driving him toward his ambitious goals. With each passing year, the young prince becomes more aware of the complexities of power. He learns that glory is not merely given but seized through decisive action, a lesson that will shape his approach to leadership. As Alexander's formative years come to a close, He stands at the threshold of his destiny, ready to embrace the challenges ahead. The shadows of ambition loom large, hinting at the greatness that awaits him, but also the perils that lie in wait. At just 20 years old, Alexander stands at the precipice of power, his father's assassination leaving the kingdom in turmoil. With a sharp jawline and intense gaze, he embodies the weight of expectation as he prepares to confront the challenges ahead. Determined to assert his authority, Alexander swiftly quells dissent among the Greek city-states. His piercing stare and commanding presence instill both fear and loyalty as he rallies his troops, ready to reclaim control over a fractured realm. As rebellions erupt, Alexander's impatience drives him to action. He leads his men into battle with unwavering resolve, his youthful confidence transforming into a hardened authority that demands respect and obedience from all. In the wake of his victories, Alexander reconfigures his father's army into a disciplined force. The once divided troops now march in unison, their loyalty forged through shared hardship and the promise of glory under their young king. The young king's charisma captivates both allies and adversaries alike. His ability to inspire loyalty through sheer willpower becomes evident as he navigates the treacherous waters of political intrigue and military strategy. With each decisive victory, Alexander's reputation grows. He becomes a symbol of Macedonian strength, his relentless forward motion leaving no room for hesitation as he seeks to unify the fractured states under his rule. Yet, beneath the surface of triumph lies a brewing storm. Doubts and dissent simmer among his ranks, as some question the brutality of his methods and the toll of his relentless ambition on their shared humanity. As Alexander consolidates his power, he faces the challenge of unifying diverse cultures within his expanding kingdom. His vision extends beyond mere conquest, aiming to forge a lasting legacy through integration and cooperation. With the weight of leadership heavy upon him, Alexander's journey is just beginning. The relentless pursuit of greatness drives him forward, but the shadows of doubt and ambition loom ever closer, hinting at the challenges yet to come. With the sun rising over the horizon, Alexander stands at the head of his army, a lean, athletic figure clad in bronze armor and a crimson cloak. His light brown hair, windswept, frames an intense gaze as he surveys the vast Persian landscape ahead. The anticipation is palpable. The fate of empires hangs in the balance. As he raises his hand, the Macedonian phalanx prepares to advance, a testament to his unwavering resolve. The clash of steel echoes as Alexander leads his troops into the Battle of Granicus. His piercing hazel eyes reflect determination as he charges forward on Bucephalus, the legendary horse he tamed as a boy. The Persian forces, caught off guard, falter under the relentless assault of the Macedonian phalanx. Dust swirls around them, mingling with the cries of warriors, marking the beginning of a new era. After securing victory at Granicus, Alexander's reputation grows. He stands before the captured city of Sardis, his youthful confidence now hardened into authority. The locals, witnessing his prowess, begin to see him not just as a conqueror, but as a liberator. His army, now emboldened, prepares for the next confrontation, fueled by the promise of glory and the allure of the Persian riches that lie ahead. The Battle of Issus unfolds, and Alexander's tactical genius shines. He positions his forces skillfully against a much larger Persian army. As arrows rain down and soldiers clash, he remains at the forefront, inspiring loyalty through shared danger. The scene is chaotic, yet his commanding presence cuts through the turmoil, a young king transforming into a legendary warrior before the eyes of both friend and foe. As the dust settles after Issus, Alexander stands victorious, surveying the battlefield strewn with fallen enemies. His light brown hair, now tousled and sweat-soaked, clings to his forehead. The Macedonian soldiers cheer, their loyalty unwavering. Yet, amid the celebration, a shadow looms. The vastness of the Persian Empire still lies ahead, and the weight of ambition presses heavily upon him. The decisive battle of Gaugamela approaches, and the stakes have never been higher. Alexander, now fully embodying the role of a legendary leader, strategizes with his generals. His piercing stare reveals a mix of youthful brilliance and the burden of unchecked ambition. As the sun sets, casting long shadows, he prepares to face Darius, the Persian king, whose forces vastly outnumber his own. On the battlefield of Gaugamela, the clash of empires erupts. Alexander, in the thick of the fray, fights fiercely, his bronze cuirass gleaming as he leads the charge. The Macedonian phalanx holds firm, and the Persian lines begin to crumble under the relentless assault. In that moment, Alexander transcends his role as king. He becomes a symbol of unyielding ambition and military genius. As victory at Gaugamela is secured, Alexander stands upon a hill overlooking the defeated Persian forces. His youthful confidence has transformed into a hardened resolve, yet the vastness of his ambition looms larger than ever. The world is now within reach, but with it comes the realization that the path of conquest is fraught with peril and sacrifice, a truth he must soon confront. With the Persian Empire in disarray, Alexander's legend grows, but so does the complexity of his ambition. He must navigate the delicate balance between conquest and governance, as whispers of dissent begin to emerge among his ranks. The next chapter of his journey awaits, filled with challenges that will test not only his military prowess, but also the very essence of his leadership. With Persia shattered, Alexander stands in the opulent throne room of Persepolis, adorned in rich Persian robes. He surveys the vast empire he has claimed, feeling the weight of his new title. The once conqueror now grapples with the responsibilities of rulership, a stark shift from the battlefield's chaos to the palace's intricate politics. As he adopts Persian customs, Alexander demands ritual submission from local leaders, a spectacle that both fascinates and unsettles his Macedonian officers. They watch with mixed emotions, feeling the tension between loyalty to their king and the fear of losing their identity in this new empire. In a dramatic shift, Alexander organizes mass marriages between his soldiers and Persian women, aiming to blend cultures and secure loyalty. This initiative sparks outrage among his Macedonian generals, who see it as a betrayal of their heritage and a dilution of their warrior spirit. The blending of cultures begins to take root, but not without resistance. Alexander's Macedonian officers voice their concerns, fearing that their king is losing touch with his roots. The air thickens with unease as loyalty is tested, and the lines between conqueror and ruler blur. As the empire expands, so does Alexander's ambition. He envisions a unified world under his rule, where Greek and Persian cultures coexist. Yet the burden of governance proves heavier than the thrill of conquest, as he grapples with the complexities of maintaining order in a sprawling empire. Despite his efforts, dissent simmers beneath the surface. His Macedonian officers grow increasingly disillusioned, feeling sidelined in favor of their Persian counterparts. Alexander's once unified army begins to fracture, revealing the challenges of ruling an empire forged through conquest. The tension escalates when Alexander enforces a decree mandating the adoption of Persian dress among his officers. This act of cultural integration ignites a fierce backlash, as many see it as a final severing of ties to their Macedonian identity. Amidst the turmoil, Alexander remains resolute, convinced that his vision for a blended empire will secure his legacy. Yet, as he gazes over the lands he has conquered, the shadows of doubt creep in, whispering of the fine line between greatness and hubris. As the empire grows, so do the complexities of leadership. Alexander's ambition morphs into an obsession with immortality, pushing him to seek further conquests. The question lingers: can he maintain control over an empire built on the blood of conquest, or will it slip through his fingers? As Alexander pushes deeper into India, the landscape transforms into a vast expanse of lush greenery and towering mountains. His once loyal troops, now weary and worn, struggle to keep pace with their king's relentless ambition. The light brown of Alexander's eyes reflects both determination and an unsettling intensity, as he demands more from his men, pushing them beyond their limits. The scent of sweat and fear fills the air as Alexander's campaigns become increasingly brutal. His once celebrated tactics give way to harsh measures, with dissent met by swift retribution. Friends who question his judgment find themselves silenced, their loyalty overshadowed by the king's paranoia. The camaraderie of the past dissolves into a tense atmosphere of mistrust. The relentless march continues, but the toll on Alexander's army becomes evident. Soldiers, once proud and eager, now show signs of disillusionment. The crimson cloaks that once symbolized glory now appear tattered and worn. Alexander's piercing stare, once filled with youthful confidence, now reveals a hardened authority, as he struggles to maintain control over his faltering empire. As the army reaches the banks of the Hydaspes River, Alexander's ambition blinds him to the growing discontent. He envisions further conquests, but the soldiers, their spirits crushed, refuse to march on. The tension escalates, and the once unbreakable bond between leader and men begins to fray, revealing the cracks in his relentless pursuit of glory. In a desperate bid to assert his authority, Alexander resorts to harsh measures. Executions of dissenters become common, and fear permeates the ranks. The once heroic figure now casts a long shadow of tyranny, as his vision of conquest morphs into a nightmare of oppression. The line between greatness and madness blurs, leading to a tragic unraveling. The turning point arrives as the army, pushed beyond its breaking point, openly refuses to march further. The murmurs of dissent grow louder, echoing through the ranks. Alexander, faced with the reality of his own limitations, feels the weight of his ambition pressing down, a burden he cannot bear. The dream of an unyielding empire begins to slip through his fingers. Reluctantly, Alexander orders a retreat, a decision that feels like a personal defeat. The journey back is marked by silence, the camaraderie of earlier campaigns replaced by a heavy atmosphere of regret. The once vibrant banners of conquest now hang limply, signaling not just a retreat from the battlefield, but a retreat from the ideals that once drove him. As they journey back, whispers of Alexander's erratic decisions circulate among the ranks. The light brown of his eyes, once filled with ambition, now reflects a growing uncertainty. The king who sought to conquer the world finds himself grappling with the consequences of his insatiable drive, as the empire he built begins to show signs of fracture. The retreat serves as a stark reminder of the limits of ambition. Alexander, now acutely aware of the psychological cost of his relentless pursuit, faces an uncertain future. The echoes of his past victories haunt him, and the question lingers: can a man who has conquered so much find peace within himself? The path ahead remains fraught with challenges. In the opulent halls of Babylon, Alexander, now 32, lies feverish and pale, his once commanding presence diminished. The empire he built teeters on the brink of chaos, as whispers of his illness spread like wildfire among his generals and advisors. As the days pass, Alexander's health declines sharply. His piercing hazel eyes, once filled with ambition, now reflect confusion and pain. The vibrant life of the court falters, overshadowed by uncertainty and dread of what his death might mean. On a fateful night, the unthinkable occurs. Surrounded by loyal companions, Alexander succumbs to his illness, leaving behind an empire built on his relentless ambition. The silence that follows is deafening, echoing the fragility of his conquests. With Alexander's death, the empire he forged begins to fracture. His generals, once united under his command, now vie for power, each believing they are the rightful heir to his legacy. The dream of unity dissolves into chaos. As the empire splinters, cities once loyal to Alexander begin to rebel. The streets of Babylon, once vibrant with culture, now echo with the sounds of unrest. The fragility of power becomes painfully evident as loyalty fades. In the midst of this turmoil, the absence of a clear successor leaves a power vacuum. The once unbreakable Macedonian phalanx finds itself divided, as loyalty to Alexander gives way to self-interest and ambition among his former allies. As the years unfold, the empire descends into a series of conflicts known as the Wars of the Diadochi. The dream of a unified realm, once so close under Alexander's vision, now seems a distant memory, lost to ambition and betrayal. In the wake of Alexander's passing, the world watches as the empire he built crumbles. The lessons of his ambition linger, a stark reminder of the delicate balance between greatness and the chaos that follows unchecked desire. In the wake of Alexander's death, his vast empire began to fracture. His generals, once loyal companions, turned against each other, igniting a fierce struggle for power that would reshape the ancient world. The once unified territories now faced division, as ambition and greed overshadowed the vision that had once driven their conquests. This chaos marked the beginning of a new era, one that would witness the rise and fall of dynasties, forever altered by the shadow of a young king. Despite the turmoil, Alexander's influence endured. The cities he founded, like Alexandria, became beacons of Greek culture, blending with local traditions. Scholars and artists thrived within their walls, fostering a legacy of knowledge and creativity that transcended borders. The Hellenistic world emerged, a testament to Alexander's vision of unity through cultural exchange. His name became synonymous with greatness, inspiring future leaders who sought to emulate his conquests and ideals, even as they grappled with the consequences of his ambition. As centuries passed, the tales of Alexander's exploits transformed into legend. Historians recounted his battles and strategies, portraying him as a godlike figure. His image adorned coins and statues, immortalizing his likeness for generations to come. Yet this glorification often overshadowed the darker aspects of his reign, the brutality and destruction that accompanied his relentless pursuit of glory. The duality of his legacy became a subject of debate, as scholars pondered the fine line between heroism and tyranny. Alexander's military tactics revolutionized warfare, influencing commanders from Rome to the far reaches of Asia. His use of the phalanx and cavalry became foundational principles in military strategy. Generals studied his campaigns, seeking to replicate his successes while grappling with the inherent risks of ambition. Yet, his relentless drive also served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the perils of unchecked power and the inevitable consequences of striving for greatness without restraint. In the centuries following his death, Alexander's legacy inspired figures like Julius Caesar and Napoleon Bonaparte. They sought to carve their names into history, often invoking his spirit as they embarked on their own campaigns of conquest. Yet the lessons of Alexander's life remained poignant. The pursuit of glory can lead to both monumental achievements and catastrophic failures. Each leader faced the same temptation, to push beyond the limits of ambition, risking their empires in the process. The cultural diffusion initiated by Alexander's conquests laid the groundwork for the spread of Hellenistic ideals across the known world. Language, art, and philosophy flourished, blending with local customs to create a rich tapestry of shared heritage. This cultural legacy persisted long after the fall of his empire, influencing subsequent civilizations and shaping the course of history. The impact of his vision resonated through time, a testament to the enduring power of ideas and the human spirit. Yet, the darker side of Alexander's ambition remained a cautionary tale. His relentless pursuit of glory led to devastation and loss, leaving a trail of conquered lands and broken lives. The cities he razed and the cultures he disrupted serve as reminders of the cost of conquest. History remembers him not only as a brilliant strategist, but also as a figure whose insatiable desire for greatness ultimately sowed the seeds of his empire's disintegration. In the end, Alexander the Great stands as both creator and destroyer, a symbol of humanity's highest aspirations and its greatest pitfalls. His life encapsulates the eternal struggle between visionary leadership and self-destruction, reminding us that while the world can be conquered, it cannot be controlled forever. The legacy of Alexander endures, a powerful echo that continues to inspire and caution generations, urging them to balance ambition with wisdom.